Hello everybody, we're back to finish the crossbreeding project that we started in Crossbreeding Walkthrough Part 1. In Part 1, I talked about the goal that I have for my project. My project was that I needed to breed a crossbreed that I could use to replace my current filler or booster horse that I was entering into the reining competition for my equestrian center. I had to breed a crossbreed for this because the horse that I was using was a purebred Lipizzan at around 10,000 genetic potential. And the purebreds that were in the sales and public covers did not have as high of genetic potential as him. It wouldn't have been worth it to go and buy a replacement horse with less genetic potential. And I really wanted to leave my reining competition just for Lipizzans only, so I was going to breed a crossbred Lipizzan for this. Once I knew my goal, my baseline genetics for it was just I wanted higher genetics than the horse that I was already using. So I sat down with my spreadsheet and I just started plugging in the genetics of the different breeds that I thought would work. I finally decided on a four-way cross. I would breed a thoroughbred to a Gypsy Vanner. I would take that first foal and breed it to the foal of a Lipizzan Mowari. That means I would have a foal at the end with 4 breeds of 25% of each of those breeds. And I have my 2 foals. I have my foal 1, my foal 2 bred. They're both done, and I have the genetics of both of those horses set that I think I should get a Lipizzan dominant horse at the very end of this. So I did go into the sales. I ended up buying the purebred thoroughbred to breed to a Gypsy Vanner in the public covers, and I bought a purebred Lipizzan to breed to a purebred Mowari in the public covers. Razzmatazz is the product of that thoroughbred Gypsy Vanner cross. Her dominant breed ended up being Gypsy Vanner because when you breed 2 purebreds together, the foal should always take the sire's breed. Her sire's breed was a Gypsy Vanner. That's why she's a Gypsy Vanner. Luckily, she also turned out a filly because I wanted her to be a filly. That means I didn't have to waste a Zeus's lightning bolt on her, which worked. And I'll talk about why I wanted her to be a filly in just a minute. And then we have Cadet Blue, who is the product of my Lipizzan Mowari cross. Because the sire was a Mowari, that means Cadet Blue is also a Mowari. Now, the reason why I needed Razzmatazz to be the filly, I needed Cadet Blue to be a colt, which he was a colt, that's great, is that when you're breeding for your end foal to be 25% of 4 different breeds, in that case, the foal will take the sire's second listed breed. Second listed breed for Cadet Blue would be Lipizzan. That means that because he's the stallion and I need the end foal to be Lippy dominant, I needed the stallion to have Lippy listed second, which worked. This is great. However, I did have to breed 3 foals in order to get the Lippy listed second, because when you breed horses that have breeds listed evenly like this, in this case 2 breeds that are 50-50, so you see Lippy has 50% and then the Mowari is also at 50%. It's just random, the breed order for this. I messaged Contact Us about this about 2 years ago, I think, and they said that it's just random how, like, the order of this, and that's always seemed to be the case. For example, I bred my Lipizzan mare to a Mowari 3 different times. 2 of the foals had Lippy listed first, Mowari listed second. So this was technically the second foal, or maybe this was the first foal and it was a colt, I don't know, but it had Lippy listed first, Mowari listed second. Then this is his sister. She's a filly. She has Lippy listed first, Mowari listed second. Were I to use either of these 2 horses, I would have to bolt her to a colt, though, for this to work. But if I were to use either of these first 2 foals in my project, the foal would actually end up being Mowari dominant for that very end foal. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a test cover just to be sure my foal does end up Lippy dominant, because I'm going to end up using Aphrodite's tears, and just in case there's some sort of weird glitch going on, which happened about a year or so ago, the foals of even crosses like this of different breeds, they weren't taking the sire's second listed breed like they were supposed to. That got fixed. However, I always like to do a test foal just to be sure, especially when I'm using Aphrodite's tears, because I don't want to waste those. So I'm gonna waste time on sending a cover to Razzmatazz from him. Sure, for one of my mares. Are you right at the top? Okay, Razzmatazz right there. All right, let's go breed a test foal just to be sure, because I always like to check. All right, cover is sent, and I'm going to just train her up just because it helps with general ranking and all that. So I'm going to do that in the meantime. But otherwise, this project turned out pretty well so far. I didn't have too much trouble except with Cadet because I messed up when I was blupping him. I wasn't really paying attention. I went over the rookie limit and that meant that I couldn't enter into rookie competitions, and rookie competitions really would have benefited him because the Lippy Mawari cross on its own, especially it ended up being Mawari dominant, it was not very good in competitions because Lipizzans do not have good speed at all. So if I wanted to enter into Mawari dominant competitions, I was entering in with probably purebred Mawaris who had really good speed for that breed, and my poor little Mawari Lipizzan cross had terrible speed. Okay, let's go get the vet. Put her to bed real quick. Okay, yep, that looks like it's Lippy dominant. I'll just call you a tester. My test foal is Lipizzan dominant. There we go. And this is why, I ended up getting Lipizzan dominant, because as you can see in the breed genetics, it has all 4 of these breeds listed at 25% of each of these breeds. And it took the Lipizzan dominant because the sire has Lipizzan listed second. Okay, that was my tester foal. Now I'm going to age her up. Okay, she's ready to cover again. I'm going to go send out another cover from Cadet Blue. Cover a mare, reserved cover, Razzmatazz is right here. Confirm. Let's go back to her. All right, accept the covering, and I'm going to put tears on her, rather a hair pack, because I have hair packs in stock, but I don't have any Aphrodite's tears. Please, yes, use one from my inventory. For the love of goodness, do not use a pass or anything. Okay, she's all good to go. Cover my mare. All right, and now I'm just going to age her up again. All right, she's ready to foal. I'm going to end up with twins for this because the hair pack has a fertility wand in it. And because I have a Howrse Lily included in the Howrse pack, I do get to choose the coat color of the foal. And because of my VIP status, I also get to choose the gender of the second foal. I'm going to make the second one a filly. That way then if I want to breed the two, I can do sibling breeding to do that if I want to. And it doesn't really matter what coat color I choose just because I'm not going to sell either of these two, but I'll take the flea bitten gray just because the rarest one. Maybe I'll sell a flea bitten gray Lipizzan if I have one, which I probably do. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. So this one's gonna be the colt. I'll name them and put a coat on them later, and I'll put the affix on them in a little bit too. Okay, so colt and filly, there we go. They're both Lipizzans, yay! And this also shows you here that the breed order is random, because if you remember the test foal, which was right here, this is my test foal, the first one that I bred. You see how Lipizzan is listed first, then you have Thoroughbred, Gypsy Vanner, Mawari listed, but with this colt here, it has Thoroughbred listed first, and then Gypsy Vanner, Mawari, and Lipizzan. That's just because breed order, when all the breeds have the same percentage of genetics, that it's just randomized like that. So what are my foal's genetics? I was paying attention to stamina, which is 2073, dressage, which is 2105, and then gallop is 2339. Both the stamina and gallop are higher than my original reining booster. I can't remember what gallop was. I think it was only 2100, maybe 1900. And I know stamina was a little bit lower, 1800. I knew I would lose out on dressage a bit because Lipizzans have better dressage than, for example, the Mawari that I was using. But I did want higher gallop. I had to sacrifice the dressage a little bit to get the gallop up, but that's okay. And I am kind of curious on how my estimates turned out. My estimate actually is a little bit lower than what I got in the end, because the original Mawari that I looked at was actually about 2138. I changed this, I believe, but the original Mawari horse that I looked at in the public covers when I was doing this in that last video was lower than the one that I was able to use, because by the time I got around to breeding my Lipizzan mare, the covers that were up had higher genetic potential, which was nice because I ended up with a higher genetic potential foal in the end. So this is the estimated final foal's genetics. I did not change these numbers at all. This was the estimated number. Stamina was 2069. I ended up with 2073, which is pretty nice. I'm gonna close that, but that's okay. So I ended up with 2073. I'm not going to bother with the decimal point right now. For dressage, the estimated genetic potential was 2099. I ended up with 2105. Awesome. I always like it when I end up with higher genetic potential, but like I said, the Mawari I ended up using was higher than what I actually expected using. I think gallop was about the same. The estimated gallop was 2333. My gallop was 2339. Oh, it was a little bit higher than that. 2339. So I'm quite happy with how that turned out. I'll be even more happier when I see them entering my rating competition and then seeing my reigning prestige actually go up as a result. Anyways, that's the completion of my crossbreeding walkthrough. That's sort of the completion of my entire project because all I have to do now is just skill up both of these horses and then I can enter them into my reining competition. So hopefully this also kind of elaborated a little bit more on breed determination. I know breed determination is really the trickiest aspect of the whole crossbreeding process. A lot of it just comes with crossbreeding a lot. You have to crossbreed a lot. Take notes as you go. You sometimes have to crossbreed several times with the same parents just so you can see the comparisons. That way you know there isn't anything random happening. Random, for example, is, yes, like I said, the breed order listed on these, because I could breed these same two parents multiple times and these breed orders will not be the same every time. It's just random how that occurs when the percentage of breeds listed is even. If there is anything that I muddled up about this process a little bit, please go ahead. Feel free to leave me questions if you need to. I'd be happy to clear some of this up. It is kind of hard to explain sometimes. It just comes from practice. So thank you guys for joining me on my little crossbreeding project, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.